Right, guys, good evening, everyone, and welcome to our post-game press conference. Congratulations to the Ateneo Blue Eagles for beating Adamson soaring Falcons 77-58. The Blue Eagles are now at 3-0. We have Coach Tab Baldwin, Divine Alini, and Jaden Lasso. Coach Tab, congratulations for this victory. Well, Adamson, the first two games, they limited their opponents to 59.5 points. And then you scored. You guys scored 7 points. So what can you say about this game? You played well.
Yeah, well, I think the second half, we kind of hit on all cylinders, and our shooting improved from 37% in the first half all the way up to 49%. So we must have shot an extremely high percentage the second half, but really we got good shots. I think we were a little bit more patient. We executed better, and then the guys knocked shots down, and we got shots inside and out. That's why these two guys are sitting here. And really, I think everybody knows that Kaimani has been sitting here after the first two games, and we knew more defense was going to come on him. And so now when we get production, all throughout the lineup, it makes teams hesitate before they focus too much, defensive energy on Kai. So it's really pleasing. We like to be a team that can spread the offense around. But still, we rebounded the ball very poorly in this game. And I got to say that there's really no reason for that. We've got guys that should be and can be good rebounders, but they have to be motivated. They have to understand the challenge that the opponents bring, and Adamson is always going to bring toughness, interior toughness with Manzano and the other guys they've got there. They've got several centers, and even Frantzman comes in and does a really good job on their front line, and they're an aggressive team. And I think it would have been a tougher game if we hadn't hit shots in the second half, but our defense was good. Our rebounding wasn't, but fortunately our offense had a good night tonight, so I hope we can keep that up.
Thank you. Divine, you had 16 points, 6 rebounds, and plus 16, so this is your best game of the season so far. And what can you say? This is the most impressive win so far for the Blue Eagles. What can you say?
First of all, I'll just thank God and family. Thank the coaches and my teammates, especially the coaches, for preparing us for the game with every single details and key points we need to win the game. So yeah.
Thank you. Jaden, we have 15 points, 2 assists, and you have the highest efficiency with plus 24. So you had an aggressive fourth quarter. What can you say?
I think after last game, shooting totals were frustrating for me, but all I care about is what the score is at the end of the day, and I just care about the win. And all credit goes to the coaches for putting together a good game plan, and all credit goes to my teammates for finding me, and I just thank God for hitting those shots. But I just go into the game with the mindset of how I can impact winning, whether that's putting the ball in the basket or getting steals or finding my open teammates. There are guys on the team that didn't score a single bucket like Andrew and Sean, but they impacted the game. They were plus 19 and plus 8. So I think going into the mindset of how I can impact the winning, I think that'll be better for us than as opposed to focusing on just scoring and individual stats.
Thank you. Okay, questions first for Divine and Jaden, and one for the players first.
Divine. So, how do you feel you broke out today? Soldier despite maybe you may have some nagging injuries and difficulties. So, how do you feel putting up that performance to lead the Blue Eagles today?
Like I said before, credits to the coaches and my teammates. They always, putting in work, efforts in practice. So, yeah, it's just it. We had a game plan, and we stuck with it, and this is the outcome.
For the players, guys. Okay, so Leto, Divine and Jaden, thank you so much. Thanks, guys. Continue your post-game with Coach Tab. Go ahead.
Coach, so really good, nice game winning streak. So what are the best things so far that you've seen, and how do you think could these best things be applied in the next few games against the likes of USP, LaSalle, UP?
I think probably one of the things we'll benefit from in the first 3 games is nothing has come easy. A couple of very close finishes in the first 2 games, and you get those late game situations where you have to execute. And in both of those games, we had to hit big shots and get good shots for the right shooters, and we managed to do that. And you learn from that, and you get some confidence from that. In today's game, at halftime, we weren't happy. We weren't happy with our defense, and we start the third quarter, and Adamson puts 7 points on us right away. And it was kind of a gut check moment for us. But from that point forward, the team kind of started doing the little things better that any team needs to do to be successful. They began executing much better. They began defending their paint much better, rebounding the ball much better. And obviously, when you look at 23 assists and 27 made field goals, we began executing much better at the offensive end. And when you execute, it's just a matter of, can you shoot the ball? And we know we can shoot it. We've got some good shooters in our team. And when you start hitting shots, the load becomes lighter, and defense becomes a little bit more animated, a little bit more aggressive. So it's always a good thing when you hit shots, but we've got to be able to play, when things aren't going, our way necessarily. We've got to be able to dig in and defend and make sure other teams don't get, an advantage against us that really puts our backs against the wall. But we've got, arguably, and I know the argument is really strong now, but arguably the 2 top teams in the league coming up. And, we can forget these first 3 games and just remember that it's Ateneo, LaSalle, Ateneo, UP. So you throw the script out, you throw everything out, and you just get ready for a dogfight.
Coach, I know people might overlap with the 3-0 record that you have. Is this something that in a way surprised you and relevant to the growth that you've been talking about from the onset of this team? You're talking about this being not the optimal, but in a way it's delivering. And what have you learned from this team 3 games into the season?
Well, if you remember what I said before the season at the press conference or one of the interviews, that we really didn't have expectations. I didn't expect to be 3-0. I didn't expect to be 1-2, 2-1, or 0-3. This team, we just had to play games and kind of see where we're at. But I still think that all the teams in the league are still trying to figure out where everybody is at. And I know it looks like Ateneo 3-0, UST 3-0 sitting atop, but I guarantee you, well, I can't guarantee you, but I don't believe either of us will be 7-0 at the turn. I just think the league has a lot of surprises to offer this year, and I wouldn't even, try to guess what those surprises will be. I think we've already seen surprises based on preseason expectations. So it'd be kind of foolish to sit here and try to start drawing conclusions. I think, when we get close to the turn and, half the season is under our belt, maybe the mist will be clearing a bit, but I don't think anybody, Pito's not going to be sitting over there going, oh, we got this thing, and I'm certainly not, and I'm sure that UP and LaSalle, with a couple of losses under their belt, they're not, sweating that this is going to be a giveaway year. So we just have to keep playing and get ready for every game and fight for every opportunity that we can get and try to be good when we need to be good.
Also, coach, the one and dones from the first game, Kai, then Dom, and then Jaden. How big is to have that level of maturity from those players, especially for the young team, a rebuilding team, as we can say? How great is it to have that, in a way, as a foundational piece for the season's campaign?
Well, the maturity that they bring is first and foremost really important. You know, a couple of them even after the game today. You know, their first experience in Araneta, and they were, you know, Dom said to me, he said, "I'm gonna have to get used to this." I said, "No, you're not. You're just gonna have to go ball. You know, you just got to go play. You know, don't think about venues, crowds, and because it's only going to get bigger, right?" So, but they have that perspective on things where even where something is new and, you know, maybe a little bit daunting, they still understand they have a job to do. And you can see that these guys go out really with a job to do. It doesn't matter if it's coming easy or coming tough. They just continue doing their job. And it's such an excellent example for our younger players, and it is contagious, and I think we are growing as a team partly because of the maturity that these guys bring. But every level in this league, you know, there's a test. And whatever we're doing well, it's going to be tested. And so, you know, we just have to try and, you know, answer every question as it is asked.
That's for my end, coach. How's Divine's back situation?
Pretty good, pretty good. You know, he's moving more freely, and you know, it's obviously something that we can manage and that he can manage. I think he still worries about it a little bit, but the more that he plays, you know, he's going to get comfortable with the idea of, you know, not being 100%, but still giving 100%. And, you know, our medical team is saying that, you know, he's improving, he's getting closer to, you know, just being normal. And we're waiting for that, but we still have to manage it a little bit for right now. So he's a tough guy, you know, but he's a young guy, so this is kind of new to him, but I'm really proud of, you know, how he's toughing through it and still managing to give the team a lot of help.
Coach, you're playing the Sun next. At least you have a 1 week break after playing the first 3 games of the season. So what we can expect for you guys?
We have them Sunday, right?
Sunday.
Yeah. Quick turnaround. You know, we've got to get to work, and you know, we've got to figure out how to handle this team. You know, this was one of the few teams that we got some preseason experience against, and they beat us a couple of times. We know the strengths that they have, but our players really have to take time to understand those strengths, and we've got to get some quality practices in, working against what we know LaSalle is going to bring. You know, tempo, toughness, rebounding, and across the board scoring ability. And so it's going to take a team effort. We know that, but we have some time to prepare, and we'll make the most of it.
Thank you, Coach. Congratulations.
Okay.
Thanks, coach.
Okay. Thank you. No more questions.
No more.
No more.
We're just chatting.
No. Why no?